This is West Michigan Live with Neil Dion on News Radio Wood 1300 and 106.9 FM.
All right. I had this lady on our show once before, and she was so doggone much fun and so full of important information. I wanted to have her back, and I did so because of a particular story that I read. Her name is Holly Signorelli. She's the money therapist and author of Do You Know Where Your Money Is? Holly, good morning.
Hi, how are you?
Wonderful. Welcome back.
Thank you.
The reason I wanted to talk to you, Holly, is about kids.
Right.
And I'm thinking back to my own high school experience, and we learned about the ancient Romans, and we learned how to diagram a sentence and do a little bit of math and so forth. But even though I took a general business class, that class was set up in such a way so that you learned a little typing, you learned how to sign a check, and we fantasized about starting a new business and what it would be like to set up a board of directors and come up with a product and all of that. But as I look back on it, I think I really didn't learn a single thing that was practical or useful to me. And I saw a study that was done here. Only five states require high school students to take a class about money.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, isn't it? You're right.
It's crazy.
When I went to college to do accounting, and I took this Accounting 101, I remember the class started out with like 40 people, and only 11 people finished the class. It's like they couldn't even stay in the class, and these people weren't looking to be accountants. They were just taking, a mandatory class for whatever their degree was. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of scary.
Yeah, kind of. My wife relayed a story. I shared this with the audience earlier. She pulled up to a fast food place to get a pop, right? And mm-hmm. She goes in. I can't help you. The register's down. And she says, "Well, I know it's $1.37." And she, tried to give her the money. Their cash registers have a picture of the item on the keys that you're ordering, and
right.
And the poor kids in there were at a complete loss for how to let her get a soda pop and make change for a couple of dollars. And it just blows my mind. We're so spoiled, and we have these devices in our hands that can answer anything for us.
Yes, that have calculators. And hey, I want to go back to, is pop a Michigan word for drink?
I've moved around a little bit, Holly, and it changes from place to place. In some places it's soda, in some places it's pop.
It's soda in Texas. Yeah, it's funny, isn't it?
Yeah, we all have our own little dialects going on. But it seems to me that, kids think they're going to get out of school and they're going to land this big $100,000 a year job and all of that, and they're not coming out of schools with the basic skills that they need to survive.
Well, I think there's two parts of the equation. Most people do think that the onus is on the parents, because as parents, there's certain things that we are supposed to, just basic things that we teach our kids that we start at the elementary level. You can teach a kid by having them do chores around the house and correlate working with getting paid their allowance. And then you can show them, okay, you just got your allowance. You need to put 20%, even if that's $1, into your little piggy bank. And then as kids get older, as scary as it may sound, when someone's in high school, and especially if they're doing a part-time job, they should have a bank account, because you have to learn somewhere. So learn at that income level, when it's okay to make some mistakes, and understand that if you don't have money in the account, your debit card is it's not going to work. And then you won't have to learn those lessons later on a bigger level.
Yeah, I'm raising 4 boys. They were each of them so excited to get their first job and just couldn't wait to get that first paycheck. And then when the envelope comes and they open it up and they say, wait, where's all my money?
Yeah, where did it go?
It's gone before they get it. And these are lessons that obviously should be taught by parents at home, but should be backed up, I think, as part of the regular curriculum. You got to know how to, we see commercials now on TV where you wave your phone in front of a cash register to make a transaction, or you send funds from one account to another. Is learning how to operate and balance a checkbook not a necessity any longer?
No, it's a necessity, and whether it's the parent's responsibility, because there is an inherent responsibility there, not everyone learns those lessons or is able to teach those lessons properly. And, with the millennials growing up in a very rocky economy and not understanding money, that's going to affect everyone over the next decade because of everything that we've talked about before with the student loan debt, the misinterpretation of how much money they're going to make, and not and having banking issues and credit card issues. These people, when are they going to be able to buy homes? How is this going to affect everybody? And if something affects the entire economy, then yes, there should be a curriculum that requires them to really understand basic finances, especially in this day and age with all these amazing money apps like Mint. A lot of people have heard of Mint, and there's a ton of them out there. But millennials are techie people, and my son is 21, and he started to use that app because it actually downloads from your bank account into this program, and it categorizes the expenses, kind of like a credit card does, so that you know where your money's going. And when he did that, he really realized how much he was spending going out, like most 21 and 22-year-olds do. So it changed his pattern by seeing the reality in front of him.
I remember having a conversation one day with Dave Ramsey, and he was telling me how these credit card companies will go to college campuses, for example, and offer the kids, here's a slice of pizza and a free credit card. Just sign up here. And they think, oh, suddenly I've got money. So they take spring break, decide to drive to Daytona or something for spring break, rack up a couple $100 on that thing in hotels and beverages and fast food. And then because of the minimum payment required, it takes them 11 years to pay off that one spring break trip.
Yeah, and the scary part about that is that for a while there, with all of the economic issues in the last quite a few years, they weren't doing that, and I really, truly believe that they wouldn't do it again, but they are doing it again. They're giving away the large credit cards. I'm not talking about $500 or $1,000, like $5,000 credit cards to a person who's in college making $10,000 a year, working part-time. That doesn't make any sense to me. I feel like that should be illegal. Like, you are setting these poor kids up for failure at such a young age. It's just not right.
I don't know what to say to you about this, but I've been seeing some figures lately about the student loan debt, which are absolutely frightening to me. I just can't. I know what I paid when I was a kid. I thought it was expensive then, but it's nothing like it is today. It's as if the cost of college is almost prohibitive.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. I think we talked about this before, but the inflation rate of college is 5 times greater than the normal inflation rate. So the kids are getting gouged, and then they're getting student loans. And like you said earlier, they think they're going to make more than they are going to make. So they're not thinking about the student loans. And I don't think most of them realize that you can't walk away from it. And because, I've interviewed a lot of millennials, but they don't seem to have a concept. And in general, this is a generalization, of course, it's not everybody, that they do have to pay this stuff back. It just seems like later, like, oh, it'll be okay, I'll make all this money, I'll pay it, it'll be no big deal. And they're just not really thinking that through for some reason.
Yeah, and jobs are hard to come by, and you might be making $15,000, $18,000, and if you have $100,000 in student debt, that's going to be a long time.
Yeah, exactly. And then you have a credit card on top of it because the credit card companies are giving them away.
Yeah, five states earned an A grade, and those are Alabama, Missouri, Tennessee, Utah, and Virginia for preparing students for the real world with finance out there. Sadly, Michigan is not one of them, but this is hopefully something we'll look at in curriculums down the road.
Well, Michigan got a B. So did Texas, so we're not too bad.
Well, I'll take that and be happy with it at this point. Holly, it's so great to have you on the show again. Thank you. And make sure you grab Holly's book, Do You Know Where Your Money Is? Holly Signorelli is the money therapist, and great having you on the show again.
You bet.